Hey guys, Laura Whitmore here with STP. I have been a test prep coach for over 16 years. I super score a 1570 on the SAT, and I worked with over 500 students one-on-one and in group classes to help them improve their SAT scores significantly. But I didn't always super score a 1570. I struggled on the English portions when I was in high school, and I could not get above a 640. I don't want that to happen to you. So this video, I'm going to basically cover everything you need to know about the digital SAT English modules so you can get a way better score. So if you are not subscribed yet to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell below so you don't miss out on future videos in this series. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to talk about with you guys is the layout for the digital SAT English modules, because if you don't know the lay of the land, then you're already at a disadvantage. So it's important to understand that there are two modules for the English section. The first is your baseline module, and the second module is either harder or easier depending on how you did on the baseline module. Each module has 27 questions and 32 minutes to answer them. So you're looking at roughly a little over a minute per question. Now that's just for students who have the regular time limit. If you have time and a half or double time, then you're looking at 48 minutes per module or 64 minutes per module. If you're targeting a score above a 600 on English, you should aim to miss no more than 11 questions on the first module. If you miss more than 10 or 11 questions on the first module, you will get the easier second module, which is worth less points, and your score won't get up much over 600, even if you do perfectly on the second module. All right, now it's important to understand what the modules are comprised of. So when you hit an English module, the first type of question you will encounter is called a craft and structure question. Craft and structure makes up about 28% of the English sections with 13 to 15 questions. Now, the types of questions you will see in the craft and structure umbrella are words and context questions, function of an underlined sentence questions, main purpose questions, and comparative text 1, text 2 questions. The second type of question that you will encounter on the modules is the information and ideas category. This category makes up a little bit less than craft and structure at 26% with about 12 to 14 questions. The types of questions that fall under this umbrella include main idea questions, which are different than main purpose questions, a statement that best supports or undermines a hypothesis or claim, graph questions, and logically completes the text, aka inference questions. The third category that you will encounter on the modules are standard English convention questions, which essentially are your grammar questions. It's also about 26% of the section with 11 to 15 questions. The last category you will encounter are expression of ideas questions. These are your transition questions and your note-taking questions. This category is about 20% of the section with roughly 8 to 12 questions. So you may be familiar with the different types of questions I've already outlined for you. I'm just curious, of all the questions I just mentioned in their respective categories, what type of question is hardest for you to tackle? Because I would like to come out with a future video very soon walking you through how to do that specific type of question. So go ahead and comment below and let me know what you're struggling with the most. And the most comments I see for that type of question is the next video I'm gonna do. All right, so how should you prep for the English modules to get better? Well, there's only 4 official Blue Book tests that have been released by College Board, and you do not wanna burn through those. So what I would recommend is you actually work on the specific question categories one at a time in a drills format so that you can get better at that type of question. Try to figure out strategies that will make answering those questions easier. For example, I recognized on the graph questions that I typically don't need to read the majority of the huge paragraph under the graph, just the last sentence or two. So once you start to streamline and master that type of question, then you can move on to another category. The best way to do that is to use two different tools that I would recommend. The first is a free tool. It's College Board's Question Bank. All you need to do is Google it and you will get it, and you can basically filter to different types of English questions that you want to work on. It's a little cumbersome to work with, I'll be honest, because you have to be like at a computer and you have to click into each question to see it, and then you've got to add them to a PDF in order to be able to generate them and their answers. So that's kind of a little tedious, but they're official questions, which is really good. So I would start there. The other thing I will recommend to you is to head to the App Store or Google Play and download the Preply app. Preply was the first digital SAT prep app available to students and has helped hundreds of students already improve their SAT scores. You can do the same thing in Preply, where you head to a specific category and practice drills in either infinite mode or a mini drill mode. You can also work on time quizzes to basically practice your pacing. All right, so I'm gonna link up here so you can go download Preply today and use the code STP50 at checkout so you can get 50% off a first month subscription. Okay guys, another big component to doing better on the English modules is understanding the types of answer choices that College Board is going to give you. First, it's important to understand what the English modules, what the intention is, and why they designed them anyways. College Board is testing you on your ability to link textual evidence to broader ideas. So a big part of that is being able to pinpoint synonyms in the text and synonyms in the answer choices. If you see they're saying the same thing in different ways, chances are that is probably the correct answer. And that has not changed from the paper SAT to the digital SAT. It's important to understand that they will put trap answers in your way to try to entice you to pick something that's incorrect though. So if you can understand what types of wrong answers they give you, you're gonna have an advantage. So let's talk about the different types of wrong answers they'll give you on the English modules. The first thing you might see is an off-topic answer. This is going to be an answer that has absolutely nothing to do with the passage or the question. I have typically seen, like on many of the digital SAT questions, 2 off-topic answers out of 4, which is really nice because those are easier to eliminate, and then you'll have it down to a 50-50. Another type of wrong answer you're going to see is an answer that is too broad. So if they're asking a question about something specific and then you notice that the answer choice generalizes to like an entire population or to an entire idea, chances are it's too broad and not specific enough, so you need to get rid of it. Another type of wrong answer you're going to see is an answer that is too extreme. So you're going to want to avoid answer choices that say absolute terms like always, never, only. Those are rarely correct, so proceed with caution on those. Another type of wrong answer choice that you're going to see is what I call the half right, half wrong answer choice. This is a very popular choice by College Board. They want to lure you in and get you to fall in love with an answer choice, so they'll make the first part or the first half of it sound great. However, if you don't read the entire answer choice thoroughly and you pick that, you're gonna get it wrong. What you'll realize is the other half of the answer choice is completely incorrect. So make sure you're reading the entire answer choice and not jumping the gun and rushing to a conclusion. The next type of wrong answer that you may see is an answer that could be true, but there is not enough information provided in the paragraph. So if an answer sounds good and you think it could be correct, but you don't see any textual evidence for it in the passage, don't pick it. Another type of wrong answer choice that you might see is something that is true for the passage as a whole, but not for the specific lines in question. You will see this typically on a function of an underlined sentence question. So be very careful with that, because you need to answer the function of the specific sentence they have underlined. You're not going to basically pick an answer that talks about another sentence in the paragraph, even if it's correct. Do you typically end up picking the wrong one when you have it narrowed down to 2? I know we've all fallen victim to that. So chances are, if you have it narrowed down to 2 and you're picking the wrong one, you're probably picking an answer choice that's half right, half wrong, meaning you're not reading it thoroughly and you're rushing, or you're picking something that may be true but is not necessarily stated in the passage, which means that you are not finding the proper textual evidence in the passage and the synonyms that match in the answer choice. All right, if you're finding this video helpful so far, show me some love, hit the thumbs up button below. All right, the next thing I want to talk about are the general strategies you can use on the English modules to get more points and to be more effective. The first strategy that I would recommend for you is to always read the question first when you get to a new question. If you read the question first, then you'll know what to look for in the passage. I've seen too many students jump right into the passage and read it, and then go to the question and then have to go back in and reread because they weren't reading actively and looking for the answer the first time around. The second tip that I would have for you for the English strategies is to paraphrase. So when you read a sentence, take a step back and sum it up in your own words. Then move on to the next sentence and do the same thing. The passages are really short, so they look deceivingly easy. However, they are so dense with information that if you're not paraphrasing and figuring out what they're saying from sentence to sentence, it's going to be very easy for you to get lost. The third strategy that I have for you is to look for keywords and phrases in the passage that are significant. One example of this are transition words. If you see a contrast transition word like however or nevertheless, that is significant because it denotes a shift in the argument or a shift in the tone, so you want to pay special attention to that. You also want to look for keywords like claim, asserts, believes, because those are words that indicate the author's argument, which is super important. And you also want to look for adjectives that describe the tone. So if you see a lot of happy, positive sounding words, it's probably a positive tone, meaning you're going to want to pick a positive answer choice to match that. The fourth strategy is to look for unusual punctuation. So if you notice a semicolon or a colon, there's probably some significant information nearby. For example, if you're on a word and context question and there's a blank followed by a colon, chances are right after the colon, there will be the definition of the word that you need in the blank. The fifth strategy is to use process of elimination. Make sure you're crossing off answer choices as you go so that you can narrow it down to the correct one, keeping in mind the things that we talked about already with what kinds of wrong answer choices you may see. Lastly, this is a time management strategy, but I would recommend that you start with number 15 on each module, because that will start you with the grammar questions and then move you into the transition questions and the note-taking questions, which are the quickest, easiest ones to pick up points on. Then you can loop back to the very beginning with words and context questions, which are also pretty easy, and then get into the more intensive reading, craft and structure, and information and ideas questions. So go ahead and try that out and let me know how it goes for you. If you like this video and you want more helpful resources to help you prep for the English sections of the digital SAT, for a limited time, we're actually giving away our digital SAT workbook. I'm going to go ahead and throw a link up here. Go to our website, subscribe to our email list, and we will send you a link so you can download the workbook for free. This is a great tool because we've compiled all these useful strategies for you and exercises so that you can hone your skills and get better at the English sections. All right, guys, that's all for now. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you so much. Go ahead and comment below English tips so I know you are one of the most awesome viewers on my channel. And until next time, you guys, happy prepping.